In this video, I'm going to set up tracking for comment clicks on my WordPress site. This same logic, same function will work with any interaction with your website that passes to the data layer, and we'll get to that in a second, which items do and do not pass to the data layer. The reason I'm doing this is because I have a WordPress spam plugin, and I just have the inkling that people are trying to submit comments and they cannot, and I want to figure out if that's true, so I want to track these as events in Google Analytics. So first thing you need to do is go to Google Tag Manager, which is tagmanager.google.com. Add your tag to the site. Hopefully you're to that level if you're getting to configuring tracking actual clicks within Google Tag Manager. You want your analytics code on the site. But that's pretty much the foundation you'll need. You'll note that I already have some triggers in place. Some of these are clicks, which allows me to. So go ahead and set up your overlay just to the right of Publish, Preview, and Debug. Let me go ahead and refresh mine. And then make sure you go to your website with the web page with the activity you want to track in that same browser. I'm going to refresh this. Now the overlay today is looking really quite janky, and it's funny because this is Google Chrome. It's a Google product, but this little bitty overlay in the bottom left typically will span the bottom of the screen. In fact, you can see the line where it typically would go. So it's just buggy today, but it's not going to prevent us from doing what we need to do. Now what I want you to look for is when I click, you'll see this 1, 2, 3 here. It's going to add to it. So these GTM clicks, that's how we're going to easily figure out what values are getting passed to the data layer. So no tags are firing on any of these clicks. In fact, you can analyze that by clicking on one and look, tags fired on this event, absolutely nothing, which is great. You can also look at the variable elements, which is what we'll do for the specific interaction that we want to track. Now I'm hopping back to Google Tag Manager. If you do not see your clicks registering, which I do see mine, so if you do see yours, you can skip this next step. But if you do not see them there, you want to create a new trigger, not tag, a new trigger, and we're just going to call this one the all click or all click listener, whatever you want to do. Choose event, click, all elements, continue, fire on all clicks. So you're going to go ahead and create that trigger. I'm going to cancel and discard. Go ahead and refresh your live preview, and then now when you jump back and refresh that browser page just to be sure, and just make sure when you click around you see those GTM.clicks there in the bottom left. And again, mine looks janky. That's the first time I've seen it like this, so I don't think it's going to look janky for you or me much longer. But you can see those are registering. So that's what we're going to use to figure out how to set up our tag. Now, the specific interaction I want to track is this post comment. I'm setting this up as a click listener opposed to a submission listener because obviously if someone's getting blocked by my spam shield, they couldn't submit, there wouldn't be the post event, so we just want to listen for that click. So quite literally all I'm going to do is click on post event. So right now I have 13 GTM clicks because I was clicking like a madman. So I'm going to click on post comment and it's going to say, hey, you messed up. Well, it's great. All I wanted to do was track that actual click. So now I click on 14 here, which was my latest click. No tags fired on this event. A-OK. Look at my variables. So this one has some pretty generic variables here. You don't really want to specify the page name because I want this to be new post, old post. I want it to grow. So it looks like my variable I'm going to have to run with is my element ID, which is going to be submit. So let me just go ahead and copy that, not that I couldn't remember it. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a new tag. So go to Google Tag Manager, tags, and a new tag. We're going to name this one comment tag. And again, I'm just trying to figure out how many people are clicking on comments, get hit with spam shield. This will show them all in Google Analytics. So if I see events and I continue not to get comments, I know something's wrong with the spam shield. So click on choose product, Google Analytics, Universal Analytics. Quite positive you'll have Universal Analytics by now, but if you're sure you have asynchronous, you can go with that. Tracking ID, it's going to be your UA hyphen number, that full string. I actually have mine saved as a variable, a constant variable, so it's GA code. This does not, we don't want it to be a page view as if it's the actual Google Analytics tag. We want it to be an event. So category, let's just call it comment. Action, let's call that click. And my label, instead of putting a static value there, I want it to pull either the URL, let's pull the URL path. For example, on this one, it's going to pass the /top 5 WordPress plugins as a value, so I can see which comment they submitted, and that will help me even more, where if that post in particular was to receive a comment click and I have no comments, well, voila, the spam plugin is overreaching. Non-interaction hit. This actually is a non-interaction hit because it's not the actual submission, so I'm going to hit true there. If I set the trigger up as a form, which I'll show in just a second, I would probably leave that as false. So let me continue here. Fire on. Again, I'm not going to do a form. Now you could do a form and that will validate. So if someone puts in the wrong information and they click and it doesn't work, it wouldn't submit. So the click will give me some duplication of a single event. There's no way to avoid that. But again, if my spam shield's blocking everybody, the form would never go through, so I wouldn't figure it out. For my purposes, I am doing a click. So let me click on that, and I need to create my new trigger. Let's go ahead and call this one comment click. And choose event. Well, it already populated based on our selection there, which is click. I do want all elements, so I'm just going to continue. And only some clicks. You don't want to pollute your account with tons of events. Now, element won't work, but element ID will work. Potentially, element class will work. It does equal. You can do contains here, but the word submit. So remember, the way I figured that out was I actually clicked on the activity I wanted to track. I then clicked under summary, which is a bit obscured right now, on that particular interaction, went over to variables, and then it tells me here the element being passed is the word submit. And create trigger, and then create tag. So now we have the trigger, the tag, and the trigger is what listens for that click. The tag is what shoots the event to Google Analytics when that trigger is fired. So create tag. Now I need to refresh my debug overlay, and I need to, well, I'll show you this real quick before I refresh this. Note that that tag is not there, so there's no tag containing the word comment. So let me refresh. And the first thing I want to check for is to make sure that the tag fired on this page, because quite literally all that's happened is the page load. And sure enough, we don't have the comment tag there, which is great, not fired. So ideally, when I click on this post comment, not when I click anywhere else. Let's see. Okay, good. No tags are fired there. So when I click on post comment, we'll want that tag fired. So let me click on that. So that's number 6 here. And comment tag was fired just as desired. Now let me look at my, in fact, let me trigger that a couple times. And it's funny because it'll shoot the event to Google Analytics even if you don't publish your actual container. So interesting there. But you can see the comment is going click, and then if I click on that action, or sorry, there it is, the event label, it pulls that string because we set it as URL path. So that's how you really track any interaction you want. The easiest way is to, again, jump in and look at that variable, grab that variable and set that as your trigger rule, and then from here you'll actually want to publish your container, which is what I'm going to do here in a second. I hope this helps you out, and give me a holler if you have any questions.